Maslow tells us about the needs of all human beings. What is special need then? Special need is need what all human beings want to have, and special need is the need of special children, special persons. Now, the very definition of a special child, this special need is inherent in that. And if you remember, we talked some time back that a special child is the one who deviates significantly, physically, intellectually, socially, and emotionally, as compared with the every children of his age. So much so that he cannot benefit in the regular classroom setting. So, seeing from that point of view, special need of a special child would be related to what? Would be related to his handicap and disability, whether it is physical, whether it is intellectual, whether it is social or emotional. So that need which is due to is that handicap. For instance, let's take a visually impaired child. Now, visually impaired child, what is his disability? He cannot see. So what should be his special need? Need which is over and above the need of a normal child. His special need would be that child, since he cannot see, he or she has low vision or no vision at all. So he would have difficulty in moving from one place to another. He would have difficulty in orientation. So preschool needs of such children are that we should see to it that his orientation and accessibility need is taken care of. When he enters the school, then his special need is that not only in the school the environment should be friendly, physical friendly environment would be, so that he could move from point one to another point easily, such as there should be stairs, etc., and other such facilities which are friendly to a visual impaired child. So his need in the school, not only the physical environment, but in the classroom. His special need is that he cannot see, so he won't be able to. As we have got a few visually impaired students sitting here, they cannot see the blackboard, what I have written. So, what is their special need? That what they cannot see, the strategies and teaching strategies and the teaching methodologies and the teaching techniques should be modified to cater for their special need. And that is, obviously, they have low vision. So our emphasis in the school would be that we have to modify the curriculum, the teaching technique, the teaching method, etc. to suit them. These are the special needs of visual impaired. Similarly, there are special needs of hearing impaired, special needs of physically handicapped, special needs of hearing impaired, intellectually challenged students. They have got some special needs which we have to take care of. Now, once we are clear about what are special needs, how we can manage and organize the special needs, that is the topic. Management and organization of special needs is our concern. So what is management? There are many definitions which you can find in the literature, but in simple layman's language, Management is a process to utilize organizational resources effectively and efficiently. To achieve now this is in layman language. Management is a process to utilize organizational resources effectively and efficiently to achieve organizational goals. Now, here are no word is you can replace effectively, efficiently, organizational resources. Now, as you know, organizational resources are 3 M's: men, material, money. So the organization have got these 3 resources. Now you have to use those 3 resources effectively as well as efficiently in order to achieve organizational goals. Now one may ask, what is the difference between effective use and efficient use of resources? Now effective use is you have to do something which is right, which you are required to do. This is one thing. And what is efficient use? You should do that thing in the right manner. There is slight difference between the two. Effective use means you have to make right use. You have to take right action. And effective is that action should be, the procedure, the process, the manner of doing that action should be appropriate. Now, there are some, I'll give you the example. I'll bring you in a school organization and I'll give you example how you can have effective and efficient action in order to manage the school and the special needs properly. For managing the special needs, at least you have to be good in four things. One is planning, second is organizing, third is leading, and fourth is monitoring. Now, the problem in hand is that we have to manage and organize special needs. First thing first, if you want that all your resources have optimal utilization, no source is wasted out, then you need to have at least these four things. Number one, planning. You must have a thorough planning. If for instance, you are thinking of establishing a special needs school or a center, so planning stage is very important. You are planning to establish a center for which disability? Or for all disabilities. Is a multi-purpose special institution. What is going to be the number of the students? Where the institution should be placed? If you are going to have a certain number, how much building and other infrastructure you would require? How much budgeting you would require? That is in the planning stage. You would have to decide if you want to have effective management. If this institution is already established and you have to manage it, still you have to plan ahead that in the next calendar year, my institution would require this much budgeting, my institution would require this much manpower, my institution would require this much other resources, and this is going to be the timetable. From this time to this time the institution is going to function. This you have to plan ahead. Second is organizing. Once you are provided all those resources, and you have to go ahead with your mission, that is to organize and manage special needs, then you have to take important decisions of organizing those resources. There would be staff available to you, different professionals, special educators, speech therapists, psychologists, physiotherapists, or other professional administrative staff. You have to organize them systematically and put the right man in the right job. Special needs management we are talking about. Put the right man in the right job. For instance, you need to give job description in the rules that the teachers, special educators are going to do these duties. You are going to create organizational structures. Well, if there is going to be some vice principal, what would be his or her role? If there is going to be some administrator or admin supervisor, that would be what would be his role? Who is going to responsible to whom? Who is to initiate what type of task? What is the requirement of the job? In organization, you need to be very, very careful. For instance, as I said, if you want to make effective use, then an efficient use of the organization, that means that with the limited inputs, you have to get maximum output. There should be no wastage of resources, whether human, whether money, whether infrastructure. As far as the staff is concerned, I say it again, even among teachers you have to decide that all are equally qualified, but this one teacher can handle junior students better. So mother-like attitude, if someone has, you would like to give him a junior class. If some teacher is academically more qualified, and able to handle higher classes. Again, the wish and desire of the student, the teacher should be accommodated as far as possible. Some teachers, you would see that they are allergic to taking classes of male students, female teachers. They are allergic to taking classes of male students. So you should not force upon them that you must take that class. Right? As far as possible. The capability of a particular professional. But at times we find that somebody is posted as speech therapist in a special needs institution, and she or he is made to teach normal class without any genuine reason. So again, obviously, she might not be able to disobey, but then the efficiency should not be expected to the optimum level, right? So it's very important for the managers that they should organize the available resources and give the task to the staff in a manner that best output is the result leading. Now this is very important again. You have got all organizational resources available to you, staff, money, infrastructure, everything. You have already decided that these are the classrooms, which classroom would be suitable for which students. Normally, where should be the administrative block be placed, which should be easily accessible to the guests who are coming and going out, and they needlessly not interfere in the normal workings. So important is that you need to, while organization, you should lead them from the front. You should act as a role model. Again, very important. First, you should be competent enough. You should be knowledgeable enough to guide people. Secondly, you should be concerned about the problems of the staff. You should be concerned about their wages, for instance, their increments, their leave policy. As far as possible, you should have a satisfied staff and then lead them from the front. And how can you lead them from the front? If you find that despite all the motivation, despite everything, a teacher is not, or a professional is not performing to the optimal use, you can tell him or her, rather admonishing her, rather being rough with her. You should say, okay, you visit a class, find the class is not being handled properly. The lessons are not being delivered in the manner it should be delivered. The special needs are not being taken care of as they should be. So you should very politely tell that staff who is in that particular classroom, okay, just come in, I want to take your class for 15 minutes or so. So I hope you don't mind. Please sit down, at the end and see me. I would love to take care of your class today. Then you need to be good at it. Tell her by your performance how you have got to do that job. Once you give your own personal performance in any field, whether it is punctuality, whether it is taking care of the class, whether it is maintaining the records, whatever. If you set your own personal example, that look, here I am doing like this, and please now follow it like this. That would be the best motivation for the staff. That would be the best motivation. But if you yourself do not know, or you are not knowledgeable in your, you are not competent enough, then management organization would not be that easy. I hope this is clear to you. You just cannot lead like that. Okay, I am the principal, and you damn well do this. This is how it should be done. And in your own personal behavior or performance, you are exactly doing the reverse. You are demanding the staff to be in time, and you are always late, or mostly you are late. Your own record maintenance is poor, and you expect the teachers to maintain a good teacher's diary. Leading from the front, management organization skills, this is very important. Then monitoring. It is not sufficient that you plan well, it's not sufficient that you organize the staff and the resources well, it is not sufficient that you should give them a good lead, but you should also have a good check system. You must receive the feedback that how the staff is going on. Are they on the track? Are they doing what they are expected to do? And for that you should have a very good assessment system placed. You should keep on monitoring. Normally in the institutions, whether they are general or special needs institutions, the head of the institution is mostly on the move. They are not restricted to their office and sitting. They are mostly on the move. They may not enter the classrooms. They may move through the corridors, but they should keep an eye on what is going on. And then proper assessment system, good punishment and reward system should be in place to encourage those staff members who are doing well and to penalize those who are not doing well. Management organization I am talking about. Last part. Now, while you are managing and organizing special needs, you have to at least see it from two levels. At the school level, that is head teacher level, and at the classroom level. For school, that is at the macro level, the policies, their management, that matters. But in the classrooms, in the four walls, teacher is mostly important. You need to have a look at it, right? And while you are organizing special needs, you can have three types of setups in which you can have special needs provided. Number one is that you have locational integration. Number two, you have social integration. Number three, you have functional integration. Now, the old age concept that the special needs should be provided in special needs institutions exclusively is, with the passage of time, being replaced by different levels of integration. First, for instance, physical integration. You need to place the special needs children within the parameters of a general education. They must be having exclusive building. They must maybe having exclusive even administration. But then physical area is the same. Then we have got social integration. As I at occasions give example of Bilkis Teachers Training Institution at Chaklala, Rawalpindi, that they have got teacher training institutions of Montessori level, and within that institution, in a particular site, there is a special needs institution also, which caters for all the disabilities. Now, except visuals. Yes, you're right. So they have social integration. Social integration of the sort is that in normal academics, both institutions separately work, but at break time or at sports time or at some functions, social gatherings, they get together. They need to know each other better. Then I said functional integration. That is a sort of mainstreaming or inclusive education, where the physical as well as social integration is already there, but apart from that, in different academic subjects, the special children sit together with the normal children